Hey guys, Wade here. Hey, a couple months ago when I was working on the guy and back, gallon back thigh support fuel sump system, I said that I was going to cover the pilot seat front side system underneath the thigh support cover for the pilot when I got around to it. Well, that's today, so I'm going to go ahead and cover this as far as the front half of the fuel system within the fuselage for my Long-EZ. Okay, so here you see three fuel lines. The bottom two are the left and right fuel feeds that come out of the thigh support sump, those respective tanks, left and right. And then that's what allows me to choose either left tank feed or right tank feed on the fuel selector valve right here. Then that goes through the EFII boost fuel boost pump, and then it comes out this top fuel line and then returns actually to the engine. So right now all I pretty much have here, as you can see, besides the control stick, I have these two big power cables, positive and negative, that go to the engine compartment and from the engine compartment essentially to the starter. And these play nicely together with the fuel lines. They pretty much sit over. There's an Adel clamp, or Adel, however you say it, that connects right there. Keeps everything pretty smooth. So this area right here, all in this area, you'll have right in here, you'll have, of course, the Dynon intercom, and then I have this map pocket right here. And then there's a lot of area in here for as long as the Long-EZ is concerned, for running the majority of the electrical wires that go along from the front to the back and vice versa for the fuselage. So I'm going to take right now the right armrest, put it in place. You can see how that sits in there. So there you have it. Sorry for any jiggling. And then we're going to come back to the thigh support. In a little bit I'm going to cover some of the heat duct as well. The reason being is because unlike a typical thigh support on a Long-EZ, you may notice that the front 2/3 of this thigh support is removable, but then you have the back third, quarter, whatever you want to call it, is stationary. This right here is a triangular duct, which I'll show you once I pull off the thigh support. So what I've been doing in the last week, part of what I've been doing, is I installed these cam locks, one in each front corner of the thigh support, so that it secures the thigh support down. In the back corners, left and right, I'll just have some Velcro tabs. One thing I want to point out here is from the front here, and I'll show you again this when I take off the cover. The front, this right here, all the way up around, all the way back, is cantilevered. So the fuel valve on the fuel selector valve on its bracket is basically kind of hanging in midair. I didn't tighten up the screw because I didn't want to just sit here and have you watch me remove a screw on the video. But this screw right here goes through this pedestal, this skirt, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what to call it. But this wrap around here for the fuel selector valve, and it actually connects to a bracket on the fuel selector valve. So this has to be removed now too. So it's kind of a 3-point system. Again, in each corner here and here, I'll have Velcro, but I'm going to go ahead and pop this off now. It's still just a tad tight. I just painted it last night, and then this morning I put a couple coats of clear coat on it. So it's fairly fresh. Now, I went ahead and left this little surprise in here. We'll get this out of the way early, but because I'm running the Holley hydromats, I no longer need this FF-2 pre-filter, which is a 90 micron filter from EFII, which is typical when you use their fuel boost pump. I no longer need that filter because the Holley hydromats filter to 15 microns. So I've just removed that filter. I do have one 32 micron filter right at the firewall, but that's the only other filter I have, and that's right before it goes into the mechanical fuel pump. Okay, so I'm going to show you this because I discussed it earlier. This is the fuel bracket. Again, it's cantilevered out. You can see this little tab right here, which is where that screw goes in to help secure it. This right here is just a 3-ply flat spare layup that I grabbed and I painted it up. That's just a cover for these 6 number 8 screws that hold the fuel selector bracket in place. So that just sits right down there. I'll RTV it once I'm done messing around and I'm actually ready to go fly this thing. All right, so here you can see on the actual and-air fuel valve, you have the right feed from the, the left tank feed from the left fuel sump tank, the right tank feed from the right fuel sump tank, and then this comes out right where my feet, you can see my finger. This comes out of the fuel pump, or the fuel selector valve, into, through this right here, into the EFII fuel boost pump, which I have as far forward as I can. It exits out here, and then of course it goes back to the engine like I mentioned before. Now you may notice here there's a couple little divots on the bottom of the right armrest. I had to cut those out to make some clearance for these fuel lines. Also over here is I spent a couple days making this. I saw this on Facebook. I thought it was a good idea, so I went ahead and it's kind of because I didn't have anywhere else to put it unless I wanted to put it in the baggage compartment in the strakes, which I didn't want to do, is the ACK E-04 ELT, which I'm going to use. This is kind of a pre-kit that you can get. So I went ahead, cut this cross piece here, reinforced it, but pretty much I have my ELT position and I've measured it out. So unless I'm grossly off, the ELT should fit nicely right there. It will hang out just a hair in front here, but not bad enough where I think it's going to be any issue as far as my foot hitting it. A couple points of note as well. You'll see, it's kind of hard to see. You can see that one right there. There's another one right here. There's a couple of mouse holes and then some Adel clamps for holding on any wiring that's going to traverse through here, which there will be some. And then that's pretty much it for the fuel system. Let me go ahead and show you quickly the heating and air duct system. So this right here comes from that big massive duct system that's on the left wall in the guy and back area, gallon back. This right here is just a little cap that's going to allow a control cable to go in there easily. Then as you come this direction here, you'll have scat tubing that crosses here. This is a, I don't know what you call this, little bean looking thing here. This really is just a little plenum that has a T on it that goes across And again, this is a duct as well as the beginning part of the thigh support. Let me turn the camera around so you can get a good angle of it over here. A better angle at least. So you can see it's kind of just a right triangle. And then it creates the first part of the thigh support. And then it goes over. We're going to turn the camera around again. It goes over, pardon my hand. Goes over here. It's capped on the end here, so no air can flow out through the end there, and then all the air is forced out through this little 1.25 inch tube, and then it flows through the scat tubing, which is also 1.25 inch. This will kind of do a right angle deal here, and then I haven't built the vent for my right foot. The left foot will have the same thing. It'll come through here. I had to make this scat going through here. Let me move this. Going through here, because this is where I remove the amp CPC connector for the throttle if I need to take the throttle out. And obviously if it was hard mounted, it being the if I used the some type of composite tube, then I wouldn't be able to take the throttle connector out unless I took all the pins out of the connector. So it's made so that I can remove the scat tubing, take it off, take the scat tubing out, then I'll be able to take and put the run the 24 pin amp CPC connector for the throttle through here. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and show you, this is the little L bracket with the old style cam lock. I have a bunch of the floating cam lock receptacles for the engine cowlings, but for this one I kind of went old school, and then just used the cam lock receptacle there, the old style. Now I didn't have the right size rivets. They use bigger rivets, so I just used number 6 screws, and I didn't have any normal number 6 screws as far as countersunk. Sorry, it's going out of view there, but so I used the fancy stainless steel ones that I had on hand. So there's the cam lock connectors for the right and left corner. The last thing I'm going to touch upon, and I think that'll pretty much cover it, I didn't have to, but I put 3 tabs right here, since if you think about the normal cover, a lot of people either hinge it along this border or at least contacts the floor of the fuselage along the entire length here. Well, I wanted to give it at least some surface area for it to rest on besides the 2 ribs. And speaking of the ribs, you can kind of see this light area here. I cut that out for this line right here to make it easy to get in if I have to replace that line or do any maintenance. And then on this rib over here, it's grossly modified. It's shortened quite a bit because obviously because of the fuel boost pump. Now, even though it's shortened, these tabs on each corner kind of help support it as well. I was thinking about putting maybe some side tabs in or some side support, but it's plenty strong. So pretty much as far as the fuel lines are concerned, it's pretty straight shot, pretty simple. You've got your left and right coming in through the fuel selector valve, and then out of the fuel selector valve, through the fuel boost pump, and then back to the engine. So that's pretty much it as far as the forward fuel system. I'm going to go ahead and put this back on, show you how it gets put into place. That's pretty much it right there. Clamps down. With the cam locks on each side. Kind of hard to do this one-handed at first. There you have it. And then of course, last but not least, we put this screw in, cinch her up, And that's it. So that's the forward side of the fuel system for the Long-EZ, and for my Long-EZ anyway. And thanks for watching. Take care. Cheers.